gentlemen, my name is Nick with Techno Warriors TV. I am the editor-in-chief. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another UFO extraterrestrial interview. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Mufon State Director. We have Earl Gray. What's your last name? Anderson. We have Earl Gray Anderson. He is the Southern California State Director for the Mutual UFO Network, better known as Mufon. They have been going since 1969. They investigate everything UFO, extraterrestrial, UAP related. Now, he is going to tell us all about Mufon, what he does as a state director, and what happens at Mufon. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to give a big shout out to the Mutual UFO Network, and big shout out to Earl for being on the show today. This is such a historic moment for Techno Warriors TV. We've had field investigators on the show, but we have a state director. We're also going to have Brian Lindley, who is the Utah State Director for MUFON, coming on the show soon. And it's going to be a real big treat. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to give a big shout out to everyone who has helped us over the years. If at the time of this viewing, if you guys heard, we did have a huge incident, but guess what? Our channel is back online. It's live again, and I just want to give a big heavy metal shout out to the folks at YouTube. They are heroes. They're heroes. They were able to get the channel back up and back to normal. Now, if your comment got deleted, if your response got deleted, I can just re-respond to that as well, too. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to give to the mic Earl Gray Anderson. So tell us what you do at MUFON and tell us a little about MUFON.
Sure. Hi there, Nick. How are you doing? Good to see you. So I've been with MUFON for about 8 years now. I was a field investigator for a long time. They made me state director about 2.5 years ago. It's almost 3 years, but about 2.5 years ago. So if anybody out there, if you don't know about MUFON, there used to be a bumper sticker that we had out there. It said, "Doing the Air Force's job since 1969." And that's true. That's pretty much true. Although I think that the Air Force does actually investigate UFOs, but they're just not telling us about it. If you watched the congressional hearings recently, so you know that Congress is actually very interested in the UFO phenomenon, and MUFON has been meeting with congressional members quarterly in a secured SCIF, which is that's like when you have top secret papers or have you that's generally not shared with the public. That's kind of the way that they do that. So it's very serious. They're taking it very seriously. The way that MUFON works is we have no connection with the government. We're a private organization. We're all volunteer organization. Nobody gets paid for what we do. We do what we do for love of the phenomenon. So if you've seen a UFO, you see something that you think was a UFO. If you've had an experience, say, that you see entities or, people, it is a real thing. People are visited. They're sometimes taken. If you go to MUFON.com, MUFON.com, on that front page, you'll see two different buttons. It says report a UFO. The other one says report an entity. And you can pick either one or both. Sometimes people will see a UFO and they will have an encounter. Anyhow, the way that this works is that you'll fill out a form that'll ask you when you saw, what time it was, where you were, and I'll find the coordinates, exact coordinates of where you were at. You know, say you were at the beach, you were at your own home, you were in a forest somewhere. We can find out exactly where that was. And I currently have about 10 to 12 current field investigators that work under me. I will usually I will assign cases depending on what the person's you sort of find out what your field investigator's gifts are. You know, some of my guys, like I've got a private eye that works for me, I've got a police detective who works for me, we have an astrophysicist who works for MUFON as a field investigator. Me, I'm a retired nurse and a guitar slinger, but a huge astronomy guy when I was growing up. Uh, I always uh, I always loved outer space. I think that I just seemed to be born with a propensity for that. You know, that it was almost like this magnet. And I'll let you guys know how I got into this because it's pretty interesting. But anyway, you fill out your report, and I will get that. Depending on what state you live in, it'll go to that state director, and he assigns it to one of the field investigators, or, you know, I take this myself still. I had a case that came in yesterday where this gentleman, when he was a kid, he was followed by an intelligent, he called it a fireball. I guess some people would call it an orb, but it was a spherical electrical phenomena that followed him home from school. And he started running. The guy was scared. He started running, and this thing accelerated. It was like coming up on his tail. He got home and he ran into the house and he held the door open and he watched. This thing was about 8 feet away from him, slammed the door, and somehow or another, slamming the door, this object didn't come through and follow him into the house, but quite harrowing. I saw that case come in, and it reminded me of an incident that my own mother went through when she was about 16 years old. So I took that case myself because there was that commonality with my own life there. So I'm kind of careful who I assign cases to. You sort of figure out who has what gifts. I've got currently 4 of us work with MUFON's experience or resource team. We deal with people who have had face-to-face contact with extraterrestrial entities. And what I have to say about that is well, I don't think that our visitors are just here to do air shows. I think that there's a reason why they're here, and sometimes, in fact, oftentimes, that's actual contact. Anyway, MUFON stands for the Mutual UFO Network. Started as the Midwest UFO Network, and then it became worldwide. So we changed that to the Mutual UFO Network. You may have seen our show Hangar One that was on for a couple of seasons. It's still a very popular show on the History Channel. And we recently had a MUFON, an episode on ancient aliens called It's All About MUFON. And I actually had the honor of being part of that. Talked a little bit about my own experience and my own face-to-face that I had. So anyway, that's kind of what MUFON does. We are tip of the spear as far as investigation of UFOs goes. In fact, MUFON's creed is the scientific investigation or the scientific study of UFOs for the benefit of humanity, and that's perfect. I mean, it's my favorite sentence I can think of. It's a good creed because that's exactly what we do.
And so, did you tell us a little about the new app? And ladies and gentlemen, there's a little card, a little thing that's going to pop up right now, and there you can actually watch our app review of the MUFON UFO sightings app or UFO
Fantastic.
map app. It is absolutely amazing, and it floored the views. It's almost to 2,000 views, and it's our first official app review for YouTube.
Hmm.
And it's like
Fantastic.
yeah, I know MUFON has just absolutely dominated the channel. We have Linda Thompson's interview, which is 6.8K views. Jesse Peaks is 5.7K views, and Chase Kolinsky's was the very first interview to pass 2K views, and so Mufon is just a staple in the channel, like Skull Candy or EVGA, or almost like Wicked Audio. And the crazy thing is, we're going to have more more interviews from abductees, encounters, more MUFON field investigators. We hope to have more state directors like Earl, Gray Anderson, and if we're lucky, we might even get the head honcho of MUFON. That'd be really cool to have the head honcho on our show. Now, ladies and
that would be Dave McDonald. That's our director.
So Dave McDonald, I want to give a big Techno Warriors TV shout out to you. I would love to have you on our show for an interview. That'd be amazing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there is also a movie that MUFON has done. They have their own feature-length film. And tell us a little about that.
Sure. Ron James just directed a film called Accidental Truth. And the way that this film came about, it was quite ingenious. Ron was interviewing all kinds of people in the government, in officialdom. And he realized that if he would ask certain questions, and he kind of persisted, that oftentimes they would tell more than they were supposed to. And a lot of his film is, it's just that, accidental truth. Oops. I said a little bit more than I was supposed to. But it's very interesting. Senator Tim Burchett is in the film. And of course, you've noticed that if you've been watching the congressional hearings recently, MUFON is playing very strongly in those. Congress has been meeting with MUFON in a secured skiff. And Tim Burchett has kind of spearheaded this, bringing out the witnesses like David Grush, and we had the three guys on just recently, David Fravor, and try to remember the third guy's name, but on the spot here. But anyway, but I think that Ron James' film, Accidental Truth, really opened some doors there. And it is available. You can actually get it. You can get it on iTunes. I think that it's available wherever you download your movies from. I think it's still a pay-for film, but it'll probably eventually wind up on, like the usual streaming services and stuff. But it's still a new film. He just premiered it about 3 months ago. Premiered it in Sedona, Arizona, which is beautiful, and it is a UFO hotspot. Some people say it's a UFO vortex. I kind of think so too. I spent some summers in Sedona, and it's a beautiful place. And they say that there's such a iron-rich area in there that it actually sometimes causes planes, navigation equipment to go wonky. That's what they say. I can't tell you that for sure. But also,
with Arizona has a lot of volcanic minerals in it because it was part of the it goes by the Yellowstone hotspot, which has been active millions of millions of years. It's a hotspot. It moves around, and to where it is in Wyoming. Yellowstone, Wyoming. That's where it is now. But a long time ago, it was over by Arizona, Utah, Nevada. And so you had a lot of these minerals, volcanic minerals, all this stuff that would affect avionics. It would affect navigation and the avionics in aircraft. And so it's pretty insane. And ladies and gentlemen, MUFON MUFON was so cool. When the first thing I got interested when I was going to do all this, we ran into Chase Kowinski at a paranormal festival. Now, sadly, that was the rest of the videos of that convention were lost during the first crash in 2021. There was we had another YouTube server crash in 2023 where we lost more videos. But what can you do? Technology. Sometimes it likes to be stupid. But here's the thing. MUFON was. That's where I met Chase Kowinski, and a big shout out to her. I would also like a big shout out to Earl Gray.
Gray Anderson.
Earl Gray Anderson. Sorry,
Everybody just calls me Earl Gray.
Okay,
it was a musician pseudonym. My name is Earl. It's Earl Anderson. But I was kind of beating my head against the L.A. music scene for many years when I was younger. And even my grandkids seem to call me Earl Grey. So I guess I'm stuck with it. It's like tea. If you're ever in the grocery store and you're looking through the tea section, you'll see my name, Earl Grey.
Oh, that's
cool. I
cool.
figured back when it was good publicity when I was a musician. I played a lot of coffee houses and stuff, and I thought, well, hey, my name will be on every single menu in every coffee house everywhere. So, but here it is, quite a few years later. That was back in 1989 when I became Earl Grey instead of Earl Anderson.
Wow.
Well, it kind of stuck. But everybody kind of calls me Earl Grey. But I usually, if I'm writing, say, a email to an experiencer that has a report, I'll sometimes just say Earl Anderson because I don't want them to think I'm actually a Grey, a Grey alien.
And
that could be a little disconcerting.
I know. What are you, a hybrid or something?
I don't know. Well, I could tell you a little bit about how I got here. I don't know if I don't think I'm a hybrid, but I guess it would explain a lot.
1 second.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Earl Grey is going to have a really cool video called the Alien Encounter and UFO Sightings of Earl Grey Anderson. So he's going to have, and this video and this interview will be dedicated to his ET encounter, one-on-one encounter, and the various sightings he has had. It's going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be so cool. Now, where can people learn? Like, they can go to mufon.com and report a UFO, and I'll put every link you need to where you can get report a UFO, see Accidental Truth, and download the MUFON app from your local app store, whether it be iOS or Android. Now, MUFON has a special subscription service. So MUFON also kind of like it's like a Netflix for UFOs. Tell us a little about that.
Sure. Well, we are a nonprofit, so you guys, if you come and join MUFON, you can just join and just be a supporter, and you'll get the MUFON Journal. If you get like an annual subscription, it gives you the choice to go month by month, and I think it's like $5 and roughly $6 a month. And then you online MUFON Journal. It's the only UFO journal out there, actually. It's like a scientific, you've got medical journals, etc. But this is the only actual scientific UFO journal that's out there. So, and then I have a lot of people that want to become a field investigator, and that's kind of what I did. I first joined MUFON, and I decided I wanted to go hands-on. There's so many books about the subject, and as many opinions as there are books, really. And I decided, rather than try to, go through the tangle of everybody's opinions, the best way to do this was to go hands-on myself. That was 8 years ago that I became a MUFON field investigator, and now I'm almost up to having I'm heading up on my 1,000th case. I think I'm around 980 some cases that I have personally investigated and closed. Um, and you know, and sometimes it'll just be a drone sighting, or somebody sees a Mylar balloon and thinks it's a UFO. But we teach you how to know the difference, how to tell a UFO from something that's just a regular object in the sky. And we mentor all of our field investigators. And I'd been a MUFON member for about 2 months, maybe 3 months, when I decided to go hands-on and be a field investigator. That's where the rubber meets the road, and it's really the only way that you can, you know, we mentor you. I've got 4 new people right now that I'm currently mentoring. I have a chief investigator and my assistant state director, and we all kind of work together. We're going to be doing a Zoom teaching teaching group on Zoom very soon for our new people.
So kind of like a training.
But I will, if you become a field investigator, I will assign cases to you, or whoever your state director is, whatever state that you live in, or even if you're across the pond in Europe. We need field investigators everywhere, and you'll get actual UFO cases. And there's nothing more satisfying than following up on a case and speaking with all the witnesses, and sometimes actually going out in the field uh, to see where the sighting happened. And when you find a UFO, it almost feels like that's your UFO. You know, it kind of has your name on it. And it's there's nothing quite as amazing. I'll tell you that. I mean, I recently had a full flight crew on a commercial jet that came forward with a UFO sighting. These guys were just past the international date line, and they saw 3 disc-shaped objects that went into a triangular formation. And this was like 38,000 feet up. And they actually sent me a picture of the flight log with their signatures. And it was amazing sighting. And you'll get stuff like that. You
That's
know,
so
you have to
cool.
work for it,
Yeah, and it's like, dude, that
but
is
it's worth
so
it.
amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to give. And do you have anything else you want to tell us about MUFON, or is that pretty much it?
We have MUFON meetings. We started in-person meetings again here in Los Angeles area. If you guys are out here, and it's there. If you go to the MUFON.com, they'll usually have meetings in their schedule. Or I'm going to dox myself here. If you want, I mean, you can get a hold of me at earlgrayanderson@gmail.com. Anderson with a O, Gray with an E, and you can ask me, and I can let you know where we're having our meetings. We just had Greg Bishop speak, who's wonderful. And he wrote the book Project Beta. He's written another book called It Defies Language. That's a book of essays that he's written on the phenomenon. Greg's just a fantastic guy. Jacques Vallée, if you know who Jacques Vallée is, Jacques Vallée goes out of his way to hear Greg speak. So we had him. We're going to be having Paul Hynek speak very soon. Uh, we have Robert Salas. He's going to be speaking soon. Robert was the head CO of the ICBM base in North Dakota, that where the missiles were actually shut down by a UFO when he was the commander of that base back in 1967, I believe.
Oh wow.
67. Yeah, it was a real thing, and so Robert will be speaking very soon, and we'll have like UFO royalty just pop into our meetings sometimes unannounced, you know, which is very, very cool. Uh, Absolutely love it. So anyway, that's kind of all I really have to say about MUFON right now, except if you love UFOs and you want disclosure to happen, we are tip of the spear on that. We are meeting with Congress, and you guys are you know, by joining MUFON, that funds us. We have a yearly symposium, which is going to be happening in Ohio, Cincinnati this year. In fact, it's happening at the end of this month with some of the top speakers on the subject in the world. So Anyhow, get on board. Whatever
Yeah,
you
and
can.
dude, and it's like, dude, the symposium is absolutely amazing. And
Yes, it
when you
is.
subscribe to the MUFON Journal, you actually get the ability to watch the symposium via live stream. So if you can't make it out to the show, you can watch it virtually from your iPad, from your computer, anywhere you would like.
Yeah, they
Now,
offer that.
ladies and gentlemen, I want to give Mufon an amazing, massive shout out. And make sure you check out the Mufon app. Download it today, the UFO sightings map. If you love UFOs, you're gonna love the UFO sightings map or the UFO map app by Mufon. It's around $4 to $5. So it's about as much as a Starbucks coffee. And the cool thing is the Mufon Journal is cheaper than Netflix. So Netflix,
That's true.
yeah. So $6, $5 to $6 a month, cheaper than Netflix, and you get the whole kit and caboodle about UFOs, UAPs, alien abductions, d- disclosure, everything you'd want to know about little green men. Also, I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Irie Coffee, Teas, and Bobas, located in Holland, New Mexico. Uh, I would like to, and big shout out to Christopher Newhart and Gwendolyn Allen. Thanks for being our sponsor, and a big shout out to MUFON for letting us, for coming on the show. The various investigators we've had Chase Kowalski, we've had Linda Thompson, and we've had Jesse Peak. We've had several alien abductees, including Russell Kellett, who's an author, and he actually was a super soldier and everything. So you can even watch that on the alien abduction, the extraterrestrial paranormal playlist. And so we even have other ones. We just interviewed a couple authors, and I would tell you the names, but I don't have my phone with me. It's sitting on it. It's sitting on the
No
dresser.
worries.
Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, it's just absolutely insane. I can't believe that we have a state director of the world's biggest UFO group on our show. I am so thrilled that you came on the show, Earl Grey.
My pleasure.
And
Thank you so
ladies
much.
and gentlemen, make sure, because guess what? Next week, you get to hear the alien encounters and UFO sightings of Earl Grey Anderson. It's going to be his second interview. In that interview, he's going to tell you all about what he experienced with an a real ET. He's had several UFO sightings. And to give a little synopsis, tell him a little synopsis about your ET encounter. Just like a
Well,
little.
sure. It was when I first became a field investigator. I was trying the CE5 thing, but I was sort of trying it on my own. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this. I was just sending out, I would get into a meditative state, and I was sending out the message, I want to meet ETs. And I said, you can even abduct me if you want. Well, it kind of worked. I did that for about 2 weeks, and I went upstairs, and our room flooded with light. I experienced what they call the Oz effect, where sounds became very, very muffled. We usually had a cricket problem in our rafters. It's an old house in Burbank, California. Could not hear any sounds at all, no external sounds. It's like they kind of build a cocoon around you. And they literally came through my wall. Scared the hell out of me. I wasn't expecting that to work, to tell you the truth. Last thing I expected. My wife had a strange experience a couple days after my own, and we both we watched a light come down from the sky and just flood the backyard of the house where we lived. There were three different incidents, And I wound up joining MUFON's experiencer resource team because I really, you know, when this happened, I didn't even really know who to speak with. I wound up speaking with Kathleen Martin, who's Betty and Barney Hill's niece. And she was very, very helpful. She was compassionate and kind. She didn't roll her eyes at me. She knew that this was an actual thing that actually happens out there. She had an experience. She's had experiences of her own.
So if you
So
want
that's
her,
kind of it in a nutshell. That's like the short
mhm.
version.
So like were these like grays and or reptilians?
They were gray. They were the little 4 foot tall robot grays. They
So
were
ladies
not
and gentlemen,
communicative.
are you guys ready for this? Make sure you subscribe to Techno Warriors TV so you can be the first one to hear from a MUFON state director who's had an encounter with grays. That's right. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like this video, you know what to do. All you have to do is strangle that subscribe button if you like. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you like this video, you know what to do. You hit that like button if you like this video. You hit that dislike button if you did not like this video. And if you adored this video, all you have to do is strangle that subscribe button, slap that like button in the face, and pow! Right in the kisser! Betting soon you're going to the moon! Thank you so much, Earl Grey, for coming on the show. I mean, we've been waiting for this for a while. My health issues have delayed it. And they're what delayed Brian Lindley's interview. But we finally got to do Earl Grey's interview. Earl Grey.
Fantastic.
Earl's interview.
Brian's a great guy too. He's
dude,
a friend of mine, and you know that Utah is a hot spot. That's
oh
you know
yeah.
where Skinwalker Ranch is. That whole the Uinta basin there. There's a book called the Utah UFO Display that I've recently read. That's just wonderful, fantastic book. But that's all happening there. It's a hot spot. California is too.
Yes,
so,
and did you know?
But the whole world is a UFO hotspot. It seems like right
now.
Now,
Check this out.
Things are ramping up.
Oh yeah, things are ramping up. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a big shout out to Brian Lindley for his amazing support. He is going to be on the show very soon or fairly soon. So make sure you subscribe so you can see his interview, and you can also see the alien encounters and UFO sightings of Earl Grey Anderson. It is going to be absolutely amazing. Now, I'll probably have my other monitor by then because my monitor decided to crap out. So that's why I'm doing this on the laptop. You know, it was kind of a pain in the neck to get everything to work. Computers are jerks. I will tell you that. They have a mind of their own. And it's like whenever you want to do an interview, it's like Streamlabs or OBS, just like, I'm not going to play nice. Or Skype won't play nice. But yeah, it's just, you know, being Techno Warriors TV, we get to deal with technology, and sometimes it's just a stupid jerk. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this amazing video interview of Earl Grey Anderson, the Southern California State Director for the Mutual UFO Network. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful week.